My name is Cory Wolfe. I'm going to be talking about the Mudhook Brewing Company acquisition. So this business already exists, but I want to buy a bar. And I'll tell you all about the background and everything that I have with Mudhook. So meet me. Hi, I'm me. I have now been working in the service industry in restaurants for over 22 years. And I know what you think, Cory, you look like you're 24. Well, no, I'm much older than that, but I've been working in restaurants in many small, large, everything for over 2 decades. And I plan to do it for the rest of my life as caring about people in that way of just giving them what they need in that exact moment. When I came back to York from working in a corporate structure of being a store manager, I learned the whole corporate sense of things, and I said, I'd like small business a lot better. My first experience working in a restaurant, actually was my second, was such a small place that the original founder's daughter was the owner at that point, and she was in her mid-60s and still washing dishes there every single night with a bunch of high schoolers. That's the first time I ever said, like, hey, I think I want to own a business, and it was that one. And it was the first time I thought, like, hey, this is how we could be more efficient with this and potentially make things smoother and all that. So I'll always say I'm an operations person. I'm not a founder, I'm an operations person. I see what is already there and say, this is how we can make it better. We could do this more effectively, more efficiently. But I went to Pittsburgh to be part of a corporate structure and got out of that, came back to York and started working for Mudhook Brewing Company. So that was over 9 years ago. There were many things that I said, this could be more effective, more efficient, all of that. But I worked for Mudhook for 3 years full time. I was there over 40 hours over almost 3 solid years. And the last conversation with the owner was, hey, is there any opportunity to be part of the ownership in the future? And he said, no. And I said, okay, I have to look for other opportunities. I got into the nonprofit world after that. So I've been in nonprofits for about 6 years now. Most of it has been leadership. So I've been the executive director of one nonprofit and currently the CEO of another one. So it's overall looking at what we have, how we can make it more efficient and effective with the funds that come in that you never know what's going to come in and finding stability and all of that. So I have a lot of experience with leadership and efficiency. I love being able to find something that is inefficient and make it more effective to bang for your buck, all that kind of stuff. But I still, even though I left Mudhook full time 3 years ago or 6 years ago, I still worked for Mudhook. I still cared about the place. So overall, working there solidly for 9 years now. So I've been there for 9 whole years. I've seen everything that's going on. So a little bit about Mudhook. If you don't know where it is, it's literally right around the corner. Been there for 13 years. So it's the first brewery in modern York history. Obviously, we had some breweries in the past historical sense, but this was the first of the big boom. So it was like 2010, 2011 when they actualized that idea and then kept it moving forward. The owner had a lot of his own money, so that's why that happened, and that's why I'm here today. It's situated in Central Market. So it was the first brewery that was in a farmer's market. They actually created a license, PLCB did, to say that you could serve inside of a farmer's market. So that's pretty cool about that whole thing. So you can buy a beer at Mudhook and walk through Central Market and buy your produce, which is really cool. We also have a good partnership with events that are happening. There's weddings. I've seen weddings. There's a concert series that Mudhook is the only vendor there. We have seating for over 100 people. We have a nice covered cafe area. We have an outside cafe area. We have our main pub area. And we also have a speakeasy that me and the owner's sister helped create over a few months, which was really exciting. I love speakeasies, and to be able to bring that to another aspect of Mudhook was really cool. So that's been functioning for a few months now. And that's the unique Prohibition era speakeasy. Before I get to the challenges, I thought about this a very long time. These have been conversations with the owner. It's been nice to be invited back into the fold after 6 years ago, not having any opportunity to own it. And now he wants me to own the place. He is ready to retire. He's put his own money for far too long into it. He opened the space mostly to provide a job for his son-in-law, who was a engineer in the 2008 kind of recession time. So he was like, oh, I'll open a brewery for my son and be the brewer, and we'll do that, which is a nice mindset, very, very giving in that way. But overall, it's a place that, he's not a lifer like I am. And I just know in every single day, the opportunities that have come to me through Mudhook have been why I'm able to do so many things now. So I understand the importance of quality customer service and quality product, and consistent with both of those things. That's where I want to really focus on. But my biggest challenges are financing, as everyone, and the oversaturated market. Now we have a lot. Back when Mudhook opened, there might have been 5 craft breweries in York County. There's over 30 now. Through COVID and everything that's changed a lot of people's habits, different townships and areas. New Freedom, Red Lion, they have their own 3 breweries. So people don't go out as frequently because they can stay closer to home. They're all things that I've had to think about multiple times, and I still know how successful I'll be with them because I'm constantly thinking about them. I've worked very hard to not ask many people for anything. I work for nonprofits, so I'm basically telling someone a story and they want to give because it's good. But this is the first time that I'm actually asking people. I want to do this. I've talked to the SBA, and I'm working on many different things. I've worked with Susquehanna Score for a very long time, so I am doing all the things and the processes that I'm told to do. It's just, I'm an operator, I'm not a founder. I'm not founding this, I'm taking it over. But business plans, financing, all of that is not my wheelhouse. I'm an operator, I'm looking for efficiency, all of that. So that's why it's not until this point. I've been working on these plans with the owner for over 2 years now, but this is the first time I'm presenting to an audience about this opportunity, and I really just want to get feedback on what I should be thinking of. I have to tell you, likely I've probably already pursued a different aspect of each one of those things because I love getting feedback from people on one-on-ones. It's the first time with an audience. So I really look forward to everyone's input, or if someone says, here's my checkbook, I'll take that too. Discussion. Does anyone have any questions?
How much financing do you need, Cory?
Oh, that's a good question. Yes, I need $350,000. And that's something where I know with the income from the restaurant and brewery itself that I have projections for 5 years, and I know that that's not an issue with me at all. And to grow it exactly where I want to grow it in the time frame, I have no issue in doing that. I'm going to be there 20 hours a day until it pays off everything, because I don't want anyone over. If I could pay for it myself, I would, but I'm here now. So
I would say there's no, and this is true in different kinds of startup fundraising too. I tell people to parallel process, right? Have a huge target list of investors you want to go after in raising venture capital. But I think the same thing is true if you're pursuing a more traditional lending kind of approach, right? There's no, if anything, you create kind of competition and might create some FOMO between them. If you say you go walk into 5 more banks and go with whoever ultimately gets traction and gets back to you. So I feel the pain and lack of efficiency in what you said, but I think you're on the right front with some of that. Yeah.
Comment and then a question, or suggestion and a question. You're an efficiency guy. You want to make things more efficient. How are you going to make this your business? And I ask that, and the suggestion is, how do you figure out to differentiate yourself and this brewery? What's the wow factor? What about you is going to be the wow factor so you can grow it? I would just make that as a suggestion, figure that out and present it, because that's what the bankers are going to want to know. How are you going to differentiate yourself? How are you going to make the wow factor? And the question I have for you, stout, IPA, or lager?
All of them mixed together. Because why not? Well, there will be all 3, and that's the thing. Thank you. No, and in the 20-minute presentation, it's about how I differentiate and how I utilize I feel like it's braggadocious to say people building a network means something to a community, but we're small enough that I owe everything to every single person I've met. So I owe it to everyone else, but I've grown a network to know that the second I announce that I am taking over this operation, I know I have customers immediately. It's my job to make sure they come back after that. But different things in my experiences, I was the executive director of a reuse shop, like a Habitat Restore, similar to that. So working there, I automatically said, well, there are so many things that we did that were really interesting. But for me, I think really something that will really pique customers' interest is the fact that I want every single thing in that pub different from the other. Every single chair, every single table, every single glass and plate will be sourced locally, supporting a local nonprofit, but also only costing me a fraction of what if you have 20 bar stools that are beautiful and they are $200 a piece and one breaks, you have to buy that same $200 bar stool. I can go to Resource York right down the street, support a local nonprofit for $15, and if someone walks in and says, I love this chair, you can walk off with it too. That eclectic aspect that I feel like every single time you walk in will be different, that's what people want. They want a different experience, but also knowing they're gonna get the same product and customer service that they're looking to, and if not, they're not going to go back. That's one of many, many, many things that I have envisioned and thought of over the past,
$350,000. Is that buying the whole business? Is it buying a stake in the business? Is that a gradual buy it? Tell us about the deal, because that can inform who might also be willing to come in with you on a deal.
Yeah, so the cost of the business, all the assets with it, recipes, name, everything is $250,000. I know that working capital starting will need $100,000. The updates, types of things that I want to do to start fresh is that other $100,000. I just want to make sure that I'm doing it right off the bat, so I don't run into any issues. I'm sure something will come up, but I just want to make sure to have that cushion to make sure that everything starts off on the right foot and it can go anywhere after that. But yeah, the cost of the business as a whole is $250,000.
Then with that in mind, would you be considering working with an investor who would come in as a junior equity partner to put in some of the capital themselves? That would be, at a different level of subordination to an overall loan that, if you got to do the purchase, and you can pay them out over time. Or are you looking for, a one-shot 350 from someone with a set interest rate that you're going to be able to, know exactly what that is paying out?
So the thing is, like I said, I don't know what any of that means. I'm not that person, and I don't want to know what that means beyond the one time that I have to do it. So that's where what I've learned over time is that, yes, I want anything that's going to make it happen. This is such a long time coming. I'm so ready to make this place exactly what it deserves to be. So anyone who wants to come in, my biggest thing is I need to be able to make the decisions that I fail because of or I grow because of. And most of us have had bosses our whole life, and I've gotten to nonprofit where I said, oh my gosh, I'm my own boss, I sign my own check. No, I have 12 bosses, those are the board members. I'm ready to make my own decisions myself without having to wait the slow pace that sometimes nonprofits work. I'm ready to make those decisions myself. So as long as someone is willing to have the right type of contract that says that this is what you get with what you're giving me, as long as they know that they're not going to tell me that I need to have a stout on tap, I'll have a stout on tap, but I want to make my own decisions because I have enough experience to deserve that. But yeah, I'll take anyone as long as the contract is right and we all know what the terms are.
Okay, so I'm going to go to another category, and then it's going to come back to the same one. So stay with me for a sec. Are you a brewer?
So the interesting thing is, brewing is the largest salary of, next to the owner, but at the same time, small business, you don't take anything. The brewer's the largest salary. And so that's been a big question over time. The owner's son-in-law will not be continuing brewing. I am very close with all the brewers in this town because I created a brewery collaborative where we all brewed a beer together. So I know all of them, they support me, which has been great through this process. The biggest connection, which I won't name necessarily the partner, but they have experience teaching at Hack Brewing. When they brought that program there, they actually brought that program there after a conversation about what we were doing with the York City 6 Brewing Collaborative, so I'll take that credit right there. But this brewer has said, hey, and this was just in the last couple weeks, he said, I'll teach you how to brew, I'll take a fraction of that salary, and when you are ready and self-sufficient, maybe in a year or two, well, now you're the brewer. And that's perfect scenario for something like this. So that is the plan now. I will be basically paying a consultant who's one of the best brewers that I know, especially in this area, who's going to teach me how to brew on our system and do everything myself so I can be self-sustainable with that aspect, which is great. Yeah, so that's probably the happiest development in the last couple of weeks that has been.
You skipped my sub question and went right to the final one, which is if there is a brewer that's experienced in the area that would work with you, there's always the possibility that you can bring them in as some kind of an equity partner. And that alone will make it more interesting to individual investors, because the quest with a saturated market, you have to be able to differentiate in more than just one way. And if it's just in the experience of the place, then functioning as a restaurant. If it's in the product that can be scalable, then you have an opportunity at some kind of a higher return. So you could do something where you actually separate off the two pieces of business, have the brewer be a partner in the brewing that they're teaching you. You know, they could go and do their crazy scratch beers that they have been wanting to do their own brand on or something like that. And you could be in a position then over time to, have a stake in the scalable part that they're working on and still be operating a restaurant that is a brew pub, and, have that outright be yours. And later be able to buy them out of whatever, or they buy you out of a brand or something. There could be a structure there for that is unique to that relationship that you have.
Yeah, collaboration is always number one in my mind. It's so important, and I definitely want to bring in as many partners in that way. I just thought of recently, the beer coolers that we have in all of our breweries, is there a single brewery in York City that carries another York City brewery in their can department? You don't think of it, but at the same time, it shows that you care about someone else, and that affects the customer and all that. So I would be the first to do that. I would be the first to do a lot of things, but that's just one that I'm collaboration and bringing people in any aspect is really important. I know how important that can be.